All right, so day 7 of the coronavirus quarantine, and I've got another book review. Today I'm going to review How the Internet Happened, From Netscape to the iPhone by Brian McCullough. So this book, it's based on a podcast, I think, or the guy who wrote the book, I think he has a podcast called like The History of the Internet or something like that, and he wrote this book, and I picked it up because I was interested in the topic, and I enjoyed it, but I have some reservations about the book. So the book, it says it's about the history of the internet, but then the subtitle says From Netscape to the iPhone, and Netscape is not when the internet started. So right off the bat, the book kind of threw me off because the internet, the origins of the internet really started in the 1960s because that was the first time they connected computers together using modems and like a telephone line. And that's really when things started, and then time sharing, and then these like online communities, and then you had things like Prodigy and CompuServe and AOL, and then eventually like the internet turned into the web, and everything got connected together into the system we know today. So this book really starts with the beginnings of the web and the Mosaic browser and Tim Berners-Lee in the early 90s creating HTTP and HTML and the URI scheme. So the book is really about the web, not necessarily the internet, but that's kind of a technical caveat that I have for the book. But the book really follows like these very like large public companies that influence the internet. So it's a history of internet companies told, kind of in a chronological order from, the Mosaic browser and Netscape all the way up to the iPhone and kind of the modern internet that we know today. It was very easy to listen to, very easy to read. The book is very high level. It's definitely aimed at a non-technical reader, and I would also say it's aimed at someone who's not necessarily that well versed in the history of the internet. An awful lot of the content in this book is stuff that I already knew about, but I've read a lot of stuff on the subject, so I don't consider myself to probably be like an average reader for this book. But it does cover a lot of very public things like Google and Facebook and Apple and, all these big, huge companies that kind of dominated the internet landscape. And all of these companies and what happened, a lot of that was very public and very well covered by the media. So if you've been following the internet and internet news for a long time, since like the early 2000s or something, which is when I started, you kind of will already know a huge chunk of what the book covers. So I think that's kind of a downside for this book and something that was a little disappointing for me. I was really hoping to learn a lot more than I did. I didn't really learn too much. There's a few tidbits here and there, but really this book is just an entertaining kind of walk through the history of the internet. It was interesting. I liked reading it, but I didn't learn anything. But I think if you don't know much about the internet and you're interested in it, this would be a great book to read because it is easy to read. It's very consumable, and it won't lose anyone. You won't get over your head in technical information or anything like that. But if you're looking for the technical stuff, definitely don't look at this book. So if you're that kind of novice reader and you're looking for something to read while you're working from home or quarantined in your house, pick this book up and give it a read. It's enjoyable, but it is not for the technical reader. So keep that in mind if you want to pick this book up. I've got a lot more book reviews coming soon. I've been getting more done in quarantine, so if this keeps going for a while, I'll probably have a lot more book reviews coming. So like, subscribe, and stick around for the coming reviews.